This was insane to witness as the Toronto Maple Leafs come out and get yet another win in Anthony Stolar's much anticipated return. Mitch Marner returns to action, and the Toronto Maple Leafs take care of business in the night that saw the referees have a disaster class game and Anthony Stolar's have a fantastic one. Welcome in, everybody. Yeah, good morning. I mean, it is late. It is a late one for a Thursday, but that's the West Coast. That was the last West Coast game of this trip. Now they go back on Saturday before the Four Nations Cup and play another game. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. If you're staying up, hopefully you're enjoying it. It's almost 2:30 in the morning for me, but we're here. The Leafs win, and Darius, I mean, the Leafs are back to rolling. Huge game. The team looks phenomenal when healthy, and just I'm excited.
Yeah, it was a great win. Great win on all accounts, right? Obviously, like you mentioned, the referees terrible on both sides, honestly. Like the Matthew Nyes thing, like I think that's a high stick. No, like maybe, I don't know. Anyway,
as Shane comes in, starting off the late night stream with a bang, with 5 gifted memberships to Clue, DJ George, T88, and Brandon MC. If you got gifted one from Shane, thank him in the chat. What's up, Scott? Shane, thank you as always for your continued support. And 5 gifted for the late night stream, much appreciated. Yeah, I know it's in the East Coast. I mean, Eastern time, it's 12:40ish. For me, it's almost 3 in the morning, which is crazy. Thank you again, Shane. I'm trying to find the animation here, but thank you very much as always. Shout out to Shane in the chat, everybody. But
Jay is saying that you definitely drank coffee or Red Bull to stay up for this. How was your morning coffee, Nick? How was that tasting?
No
right
coffee,
now?
Just sparkling water. Again, like I mentioned, I'm always up at this hour. It's not new to me staying up till this hour, but streaming at this hour, now that's a bit of a different.
That is certainly
that's a
different.
bit of a different story.
Yeah.
Videos.
That was great.
Sure. Stream. No.
Would have been tougher for all of us to stay up if they had lost. That was kind of something in the back of my head. I was like, if you're gonna lose a game on this trip, it might be this one. But they did not. They looked great. They started great. A little bit of help from the refs. Not at the end though, that's for sure. But in terms of the Nyes goal, you got a little bit of a break there, I think. And then Stolar's was great again.
Almost a shutout.
Man, yeah. I mean, that's a great shot. Like that's just, and Benoit's screening him. It's not even Benoit's fault, but
almost interference too. I mean, just moving him.
Yeah, and no, Stolar has played great again. 25 saves, I believe, on the night. I think that was the final, and like another great performance. And he just looked confident. That was the thing to me. It wasn't like he didn't look shaky at all. Like, he was just, I'm here, I'm ready to go. And he looks tough to beat. Like at no point tonight did I feel like Seattle was going to score. I know they got a goal, but I did not feel like they were going to get scored on. Like, I think that's, I don't know what it is about Stolar's this year, but like Wool, I'm like, maybe, sometimes they might get a goal. He looks a little bit shaky at times. Stolar's, I have never felt like that when he's in net. It's crazy.
Game changer. He is a game changer, and hopefully the impact chart comes out here shortly just to see it. But
I've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
All the other games are out, so come on.
It's super late. So regarding players, I mean, who played well, there's a lot tonight. I mean, Anthony Stolar's. You talk about Bobby McMann continuing to have an unbelievable season. Fantastic game for Bobby McMann. Solid game from the fourth line with patches there. I mean, I liked the look of the first line and the second line. Maybe Craig Berube, continues to rock that at least to start the games. I mean, Philip Myers had a goal, almost had another goal. He loves shooting the puck. He absolutely loves. Really good game from him defensively. And anytime he loves physicality. I mean, obviously, it's not Benoit as well getting a fight. It's kind of hard to tell apart Myers and Benoit sometimes when they're both just checking people after the whistle, shoving people after the whistle. Shane saying I can participate, and now we got the late night, tough to get words out here. I can participate. Poker tournament's over. Well, welcome. Glad you can. I like having Domi at the top line instead of Marner, but Holmberg at 3C desperately needs to be upgraded. Brock Nelson. Yeah, I mean, Pontus, I don't even think he played terrible tonight, but they desperately looked out of place compared to the rest of the team. Like, the rest of the team right now is looking elite. I thought Nick Robertson played pretty bad, but other than that, the rest of the team looked very, very good. And I mean, a trade is going to happen to address Pontus Holmberg. He is a placeholder, as Darius said earlier today.
Yeah, it's looking that way. And one thing, in this game too, that shocked me because I didn't know that this was the case. The Leafs are, because you brought it up just a couple minutes ago, the Leafs are the last place. I don't even know how to phrase this. There's 32nd in the league in goals from defensemen. They're the worst team in the NHL in goals from defensemen, and they get one tonight from Meyer because he loves to shoot the puck, like you've been saying. I've been saying since the start of the year, he has 2 modes: scrambling around like Bambi and shooting the puck from the point. and he did that tonight and he scored. So good for him. But the Leafs got to fix that problem. That's always been a problem. That's something that they try to address this offseason. It's still a problem. So they got to start shooting more from the point. It's going to be interesting.
Aiden with the 699 is Matthews faking not being injured just to be able to play for Team USA. He really doesn't look like himself. That's a good question. I don't know if he's faking not being injured necessarily. He doesn't look. I think he's playing fine, but he definitely doesn't look like his last year version of himself.
I think he's playing through something. Like I don't think he's 100%, and most guys aren't. But there's no way like that would get past the Leafs. Like there's no way that he would be able to fake it just to get to the Four Nations, right? Like the Leafs would shut that down. There's just no way that that would happen. And he wouldn't be playing. But yes, thank you, Aiden. I just don't think that would get past the Leafs. That's for sure.
I think that's Myers' first goal in almost 2 years. Shane saying, forget the goal. I'll take Myers over Timmins 100 times out of 100. I honestly agree with that. I mean, he had a great game, not only offensively with this goal or whatever, but defensively he was solid tonight. And very interesting. We have the impact score chart. Leave in the chat your prediction of the top 3 players. And I'm going to try to guess. Darius has obviously already seen it. I have the screenshot ready. Also, if you're new in here, hit the like button. Let's try to get to 30 likes on this one, 20 likes, because it is, I mean, it's better be 1 a.m. for Eastern.
There is one player in the top 5 today. I'll give this out as people start to throw in their guesses. But there is one person in the top 5 that, you know, because of the season he's had, pretty shocking to me. So I mean, that's Morgan Riley. That, but it's not actually. But
interesting.
Pretty interesting. Chart there. He had a good game. He had a pretty good game. He's put together a couple. So we'll see. We'll see.
I'm leaning towards Nick Robertson with the way that you
Matthews again. By the way, we're gonna take a look at a second. Putting together some good games here, like all around the ice. Obviously, he's not scoring as much as last year. He's putting together some good performances. So I don't know if he's 100%, but he's still doing the work all over the ice.
I'm going to guess Bobby McMann's in the top 3. He might not be, but I think Bobby McMann's in the top 3.
Another good game as well.
Matthew Nyes. Yeah, Max Domi. That's a good shot. That's definitely who it is. But okay, so Max Domi's in there. I would assume Austin Matthews and Bobby McMann. Though that's probably not right. Let's have a quick look. Austin Matthews, Matthew Nyes. I was right with Morgan Riley. I was right.
Sorry, I know I phrased it incorrectly. That's my fault. He was in the top 5. What I meant was it's not the guy I'm talking about.
So you were right with Max Domi. Was I close? Okay, Bobby McMann was near it as well. Philip Myers, I thought he has to be near the top, right? He had a fantastic game. Yeah, he was. And okay, Nick Robertson, I'm happy that he wasn't because I said he had a bad game. So he looked like he had a bad game, and he kind of did have a bad game.
Morgan Riley and Max Domi had no negative impact tonight. Like 0. And even Philippe Meyer, almost no negative impact. I mean, his only negative impact was he was good. His only negative impact was his individual defense, which is odd, but he was really good offensively and team defense was fine. So, but Morgan Riley and Max Domi, 0 negative impact, according to this model, of course. Like, it depends on the model.
What's up, Jose? Hope you're doing well. I mean, yeah, Morgan Riley with a great game as well. It's back-to-back now. Max Domi, back-to-back great games. Max Domi on the first line. Maybe they keep him going. You have Mitch Marner had a great game. John Tavares played well. Philip Myers, Bobby McMann. Like, everyone played really well. I mean, Bobby McMann, I thought he had an excellent poke check towards the end of the game defensively. I think Mitch Marner gave it up like right after that. But either way, it was great. It was a great play by him. Max Pacioretty at the bottom. I mean, he had the penalty. I don't think he played great. But he was aggressive there. I'm not going to say almost had a goal because he had literally a point-blank shot from 15 feet away from the goaltender, and he passed it off to Mitch Marner. However, I think the fourth line looked pretty good with Max Pacioretty down there.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I just don't know if you can have him down there. I feel like he's got to work his way back into one of the top 3 lines, and he hasn't been good since he came back from his most recent injury. He honestly has not been. Like, he hasn't impressed me whatsoever. And he's kind of stopped playing that physical caliber. Like it seemed at one point, it was like one gigantic hit a game. And that just kind of got like, it's gone away. And I don't know what's going on with him, but he's got to find his game again because he didn't look bad. Like you said, like I wouldn't mind him on the fourth line, even in the playoffs. And maybe they got to spread the wealth that way, especially if they trade for another center, which we know they're going to. But he's just got to get back to doing what he was doing because he hasn't been good. That's why he's playing on the fourth line.
Yeah. But so look, I like Steven Lorentz's game tonight. Obviously he didn't have a ton of impact there. He played decent towards the end. William Nylander with a rough goal. I'm very curious to see what William Nylander's impact chart would have been had he scored that empty netter. I don't know how much like that actually would have affected it, but it would have been interesting to see where he ended up. OEL played okay. Jake McCabe, decent game. Benoit I thought played good. So I mean, The team is rolling, and Shane basically saying add one more third line center and bring back Luke Schenn and call it a deadline. Leafs are going to go on a deep run if everyone stays healthy. I do agree with the deep run part. Now, obviously, as Leafs fans, we're never really going to know if they're going to go on a deep run or not because they don't actually win playoff games or series very often. However, this team looks very good, and they're coming off of I think it was a 3-game losing streak before this. What is it now? 4-game winning streak? Maybe my numbers are mixed up there, but either way. They always bounce back, and that is something that they were injured. We talked about it after the third or fourth straight loss, whatever it was. I think it was third straight loss, that they are injured. We need to take a breath. Once they get everybody back, things will start to work out. Now they're fully healthy. Aside from, am I missing one injury? No, I think we're pretty fully healthy now. So
Hawk and Paw, but he hasn't played all year.
So first game in a very long time, fully healthy with your 1A goalie who didn't look rusty at all. What's up, Rick? Didn't look rusty at all, and now. They look fantastic. And again, they're not playing fantastic teams. I mean, they played the Oilers on Saturday, who are a very good team. And then, of course, you take care of business in the 2 games this week. And then you have a game on Saturday before you have a 14-day break. And then the Leafs return, I believe, on the 22nd against the Chicago Blackhawks. So you have the couple weeks there. That's going to fly. Trade rumors are going to be flying, we assume, and we presume during those, couple weeks. And that's going to be much needed for this Leafs team. Even though they are on a bit of a roll, you hate to see a break during a roll. But that being said, get everybody healthy. Continue to let them rest. Matthews is probably dealing with something. We're talking about him dealing with something. He's been crazy good over the past couple games, according to the advanced analytics. He hasn't been scoring the same. Matthew Nice has actually surpassed him in goals.
Yeah, which I thought was crazy. A crazy stat I saw today, like Matthew Nyes has more goals than him, which isn't so crazy because he missed a bunch of games. Austin Matthews did, and Matthew Nyes has been unbelievable. He's arrived this season, like he's here. But like you were mentioning, I mean, there's a big break here. Rumors are going to be flying. There's no trade freeze or roster freeze during this Four Nations Cup,
which I love because there's actually going to be stuff to talk about rather than just the Four Nations.
And some of the players that are playing in the tournament could be traded. Like it's going to get crazy. So I feel like, and apparently there's reports that, a lot of GMs are viewing this as like a new trade deadline or like the pre-trade deadline to kind of get guys in earlier. So it's going to be
Dylan Cousins.
Like Dylan Cousins, we'll see. Here's the thing. A lot of people want to trade for the third line center. We talked about it in a video earlier today. There's been a couple reports over the last couple days basically stating that the Leafs are trying to pivot to get a second line center because the cost of a third line center is so ridiculous this year that it almost makes no sense for them to go get a third line center and just go out and get a, more of an impact player, a younger player. So would make sense, Dylan Cousins in that way. Could make sense, but it's going to be interesting. And one other thing I saw that I thought was an interesting stat today, the Leafs, in terms of point percentage, the rest of the year have the easiest schedule in the NHL based on who they're playing in points percentage. So I thought that was pretty crazy. They have the easiest schedule the rest of the year. They have to win the Atlantic Division, and I think they have a great opportunity to do that.
I believe now they're in first place, if I recall.
No, they're 1 point back. Florida won tonight as well, so they're in the mix.
They have games in hand, though, I believe. Correct? They have 2 games in hand now.
I had 2 games in hand.
Might even be 3 if they played tonight. Either way, it's gonna be interesting. Mag might get 30. Nye's certainly getting 30. If we could just get a consistent third line scoring, we'd be favorites. I agree. And the easiest schedule in the league. Norman, I have no idea what you're talking about, by the way. Easiest schedule in the in the league. They aren't getting Cousins. They don't have enough assets. I'm gonna be honest. I think they definitely have enough assets now. If they get into a bidding war, maybe not. But Cousins makes $7.1 million. So, bearing some retained salary here, I presume, you mentioned it, they'd have to gut the team to gut the salary, guys.
There's just no retained salary. There's no world. Like, it just doesn't happen because another team would take him, his full salary, like a Calgary or even Detroit. So there's no world where they're retaining salary. You cannot give up. Like, they could trade their first round picks for the next 3 years. They don't have this year, so maybe 26 to 29. And they would be like, no, it just doesn't make sense. So
it'd be Domi, it'd be Camp, whatever salary adds up, plus Fraser Minton, plus a pick.
The thing is that the trade would be huge because you would have to throw in a prospect like Minton or Easton Cowan, a first round pick for sure next year, which I don't know if that excites Buffalo because they probably want a first round pick this year, because they don't want to wait even longer to contend. And you're going to have to throw in all these assets. Like Reeves has got to go. You need real money off the books. So it's going to be like Dylan Cousins, and in return, a former first round pick, either Cowan or Easton Cowan, a first round pick next year, Reeves, Domi, Holmberg, Robertson, or something. Like you got to get as much money off the books as you can. It'd be crazy. There's no retained salary. The salary cap structure is going to change next year. Tavares is going to make less. Nyes is going to make a lot of money.
Uh,
Um,
Scott, just to know in the
so
chat, Hakanpah
yeah,
is
yeah,
not playing in the Four Nations Cup. He bowed out. Just to throw that out there.
yeah. He was. They announced that a couple of days ago that he cannot play, which is not shocking, by the way. He hasn't played all year.
Which
So
one? Which one, Joshua? I did not see it. Oh, Dylan Cousins. From trade rumors, teams linked to Dylan Cousins want to retain on Dylan Cousins, and from Sabres would be willing to retain Dave Cousins. I mean, it'd be
and
interesting. Like
what are the Sabres doing?
the only way I see them retaining is if they want, I guess, a broader bidding war going because there's not many teams that are going to take 7.1, or they want more actual assets back and they value the assets rather than the money on the retain. Because I mean, at 3.5, let's say, or whatever, half of the 7.1 is, so 3.55,
Yeah.
you'd be at a lot more teams that are open to it, and it'd be a lot easier for the Leafs to. You could basically almost just do Max Domi then, and then all your
Right.
assets for the young guys. So it might make more sense. I mean, I would love Dylan Cousins on the team, which is interesting because you talk to some other fan bases and they are a bit more hesitant on Dylan Cousins. Like, I think alongside the right line mates, specifically, I mean, Toronto's line mates on that second line, him paired with William Nylander, he could be a kind of a stepping stone for the future pillar.
He is a great player. Like, I cannot believe we did a video yesterday on it. The news started coming out, on Twitter the last couple days, I guess, the last 2 days. I cannot believe the response from not only like some Leafs fans and other fan bases on this guy. He is a good player. There's nothing going on in Buffalo. They are not a good team. He has no line mates. He's having a terrible season, and maybe you can make the argument if you're making almost $8 million, maybe you should be able to drive play yourself. And I get that argument, but man, he's like, I think he's 6'4" or something. Like, he's a big center, right shot center who can play with some good line mates. So I think it's something they got to look at, honestly, because it's going to be an issue next year. As Tavares gets older, it's an issue. So they got to start looking at second line centers now. And the fact that he's available right now, why wouldn't you jump on that? So they just got to make the salary work, but it's going to be interesting. Maybe Morgan Riley gets the flu suddenly and he can't play the rest of the year and he's on LTIR.
What's up, Kevin? No, the Morgan Riley goal did not count, but we're doing well. Sabres are 2 years away from being 2 years away. Shout out, Bruno. Exactly. What do you guys think about Robertson and Cowan, and of course salary for Cousins? I mean, I would probably just do it at this point. Even though Cowan is, I would much rather trade. Even though some people wouldn't, I'd much rather trade Fraser Minton than Easton Cowan. That being said, I think the Leafs would probably do that just because. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get at Easton Cowan. He has a higher ceiling, though, than Dylan Cousins. That being said, Dylan Cousins is still a serviceable NHL player at this point.
I honestly, if they can get this done, maybe there's retained salary involved. If you can trade like Robertson, Domi, whoever it is, to offload salary, first round pick next year, and one of Minton or Cowan, I do it. I do it. It's a 24-year-old 6'3" right shot.
Yeah, I mean, if
centerman.
it's half retained for the rest of his contract, then absolutely, yeah.
It wouldn't be half, but like 25%.
Whatever it ends up being, even any
Take
retained
picks. Take the picks. This is a problem solved for the next like 8 years. Take the picks. It's fine. Like that's the way I see it, at least. But
you're basically
have
giving
Matthews,
up 2 first-round picks essentially for Dylan Cousins at that point, right? Your first, and then Minton, if you want to include him as a first-round pick, or Easton Cowan, who was a first-round pick. So basically, 2 firsts for.
You're in a cup window.
Yeah.
You gotta. They gotta start making some.
I don't
moves.
think they trade Cowan. I think they probably move Fraser Minton. I think they're going to hold on to Cowan. I feel like the front office is going to be a little bit too hesitant to give up Cowan, in the worried that they'll end up trading him and he'll be great. He'll be an 80, 100-point player. Whereas with Fraser Minton, I think the chance of him being a 100-point player are extremely, extremely small.
The thing for me, I think Cowan's going to be a great player, but there's certain things I see with him in junior where I'm like, that's problematic when you start to go pro, because he's starting to get into weird habits. And I think it's mostly to do with the weird CHL, NHL rule, and the fact that he's back in the OHL again. But there's a couple things where I'm like, I don't know about that. But if you have Fraser Minton, who will be a solid third line center in the NHL, if you have Matthews for the foreseeable future, Matthews, Cousins, Minton, that's great. So maybe you move off of Cowan again. This is all speculation. We're just talking about whatever at this point. But um, I think that's great because you can find wings and you have wings right now, decent wingers. So I don't know. I think maybe I'm keeping Minton. I think I said that in our
Yeah,
video
you did.
yesterday
I
or the
mean,
day before.
we
So
have
I think
different
I'm keeping
opinions on
Minton,
that,
but
but I understand both
yeah,
sides.
no, 100%. It depends what the need of Buffalo is too in this
I
situation,
just
right?
and I could be. I just feel a lot more. I feel like if it's more Brad Living to trade Fraser Minton to me than Easton Cowan, even though Fraser Minton is the higher floor guy.
I could see that. Yeah.
It's also less, media attention if they trade Fraser Minton versus Easton Cowan. Fraser Minton has
Yeah.
played already. He's been okay. Whereas Easton Cowan's a bit of he hasn't really played. He has not played at the NHL level. There was talks about him breaking camp. If you think back to the start of the season, ultimately didn't happen. I seen Cowan play reminds me of Marner. Some similarities there.
Now, is that a good thing?
Well, it is in the
I'll
sense
just float
of
that out there. Is that a good thing?
Marner's extremely skilled and helps him get away with
Yes.
some things.
Yes. Yes.
Maple Leafs streak since New Year's Eve. They had 5 straight wins coming out of New Year's Eve, then 3 straight losses, and then 3 straight wins, and then 3 straight losses, now 3 straight wins. How about we just
All right, so we know it's coming Saturday.
3 straight losses?
Yes.
Well, that wouldn't even those 3 straight losses would go over the span of like a month. Given
That's
the
right. It'll
break.
go
So
into March. Yeah.
it's actually
No,
very important to get the win on Saturday. It is very important because then you can head into the second half. I mean,
Yep.
vibes will be good as the trade deadline approaches, and then obviously you play against the Blackhawks. It should be another win. Blackhawks also, fun fact, obviously we all know this, but they have a lot of assets that I'm sure the Maple Leafs are calling about,
Yes.
which is another interesting point. And I don't know who they play Saturday. I'm gonna check. It's the Canucks. So it's gonna be. I mean, the Canucks are having a weird season, but man, oh man, 11 11 overtime shootout losses this year for them. So
The Canucks. Oh my God.
yep,
They're actually, I think, when we went live here, I don't know what the score was. They were tied 0-0 with the Sharks.
they won
going
in
into
overtime.
Okay, there you go. So
Stolar's save percentage in the season is astronomically high.
I think it's
in
a
the high
927 or something like that. I'll find it for
Coming
you
into this
here.
game was 927, which means it's going to increase now because it
Yeah.
had 962.
I'm not sure if this is updated, but it does say 927.
So
still.
maybe
I would imagine it's a little higher, but
yeah.
yeah.
Ryan Strome for Robertson and Duck second. I love that. Yeah, I'd love it. What does he have this season?
Yeah.
30 points, something like that.
Ryan Strome, let's find out. He's a little bit older, so I'm more reluctant. I heard this the other day as well. I'm more reluctant on this player.
Yeah, I'd say now it's like 929.
But he's already 31. I don't have his cap in front of me. He has 30 points, bang on, in 53 games. Not bad with the Ducks.
I saw that in the chat earlier, so shout out to whoever said that in the chat. I didn't pull that one out. That would have been impressive, though.
I thought you just guessed that. Wow,
no.
you shouldn't have said anything.
Welcome back, Stoli. What's up, Marquise?
He does have term. He has 2 years left after this year.
Screams
So
Brad Treliving. I got
it. Although he's only 6'1", right? He's not even 200 pounds. He makes $5 million, so he's
retained.
He's a little bit for $2 million more. Go get Cousins.
Yeah, but you have to understand. Well, you do understand, but like we have to understand that. I don't know. Realistically, Dylan Strome is an excellent call. I think if the Ducks retain $2 million, Robertson the second probably gets it done. Granted, I mean the Ducks could use Robertson, but there's other teams bidding here. But that being said, like, how many other teams are actually going to give up high assets for like? There's not many teams, like there are, but who are, because there's a lot of teams in the fringe of playoff contention that aren't going to necessarily be buyers or sellers. I mean the Habs, like, where are they going to be? They're probably going to end up being sellers at the deadline. And but like, the list of teams that could use Dylan Strome is plentiful. However, as much as the Leafs need a third line center given their cup window, I feel like they would outbid other teams. But not having their first round pick, you would never give up a first round pick for Dylan Strome. But not having your first round pick would be it's hurting them. Almost like last year, they didn't have any of their second round picks and they weren't able to get Chris Tanev or Nikita Zadorov. That kind of hurt them. I feel like that might be the case this year for the first round picks given the market.
And just to clarify, Ryan Strome.
Yeah,
you did say
Ryan
Dylan.
Strome.
So if anyone's in the chat, like I would make that trade for Dylan Strome.
Yeah, Ryan Strome.
But I wouldn't. Yeah,
It's
but
late.
I think
It's late for me.
based on what you said about the fringe teams, like I think the Flames. If you're talking about Cousins, at least, sorry to get back that. The Flames and the Red Wings would definitely do that as fringe teams. I think they would definitely spend assets for a player like that. So That could get interesting. Montreal, I'm not sure they're gonna make the playoffs at this
Yeah, I
point.
don't know.
Kind of, I don't know. They're in and around it, but I don't know. It could get pretty interesting. Nick, what did you think of Marner and Nylander playing together tonight? Just to get out of the trade rumors a little bit. Maybe we'll come back.
Also, give me yeah, never gonna happen. Give me Dylan Strome. Obviously not gonna get traded.
Oh,
Give me
oh
Dylan.
yeah.
Talking about perfect
He
fit.
he's only figured it out in the last 2 years. He's no Mitch Marner who was drafted right after him, but he's certainly figured it out. He's a great player.
Yeah, I liked it. Berube wrote it, and
Interesting, yeah.
we all thought he was gonna switch it back, and he didn't, which was interesting. At least for the majority of the game. I think
Yeah.
he stuck with it the whole game. So I mean, it
I,
was I didn't
I
notice.
mean, there was a lot of
Penalties and
power
power plays.
play.
So there was
Yeah,
times
yeah.
where, and they were rocking the 5 forward power play. So, and they had a 4 minute power play. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot, and I think they're gonna keep riding it. I mean, it was a great. They probably should have had a few more goals tonight than three, but it is what it
Mhm.
is. It was pretty good goaltending. Good goalie over there, and Joey Decord coming off of a fresh contract extension. So, shout out to him. We don't get to play Seattle very often, so
No, I think they're done for the year actually, because I think they were here on Halloween. So
Wings are
that's
aggressive
it's
on Cousins. I'd believe it. I mean, there's a lot of teams aggressive on Cousins. We know the report from Kevin
he's
Weeks:
just
Red Wings, Leafs, Flames, Habs. I mean, the
yeah.
Flames have assets they could definitely give up and probably outbid the Leafs. Don't know if they would do that though.
No, perhaps. Well, we don't know. We don't know what they have to offer, and we don't know what the. It's the same division, right? So it's that's not an issue in terms of that. But
Leafs
the
also
Leafs
linked
have,
to Jake Evans.
well, yeah, that I think they dates back to like November at this point. So,
Yeah, new
but
report.
also now all of a sudden, just happened by the way. Braden Shen is another one.
Yeah.
That is now that one's an interesting one. He has a no move, I believe. So not too sure about that one. I also wanted to bring up the Leafs have $2.2 million in deadline cap space, which means they can use $2.2 million closer to the cap. Sorry, closer to the deadline. It's late. Um, so factoring in Cousins, you only have to find like $5 million.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So this tweet I'm seeing, sorry, is it old. I mean, it says from David Painana very recently. Jake Evans for very interesting. I don't know how we feel about Jake
No,
Evans.
no, that could be a new thing. I'm just saying that
They
the
have been,
Jake
yeah.
Evans being linked
I
has
don't like
been
it.
for a while.
I
Yeah,
don't like it. I just don't want to
I
have.
don't.
We already have a Hab. We already have a former Hab on the team. We already
I
have it.
don't mind it because he's right-handed. But I do mind it because he's a Montreal Canadian, and I feel like there's probably better options out there,
Are they
bigger options
trying?
as
Are they
well.
running Domi on the top line to showcase him for a trade? I don't think so. You kind of know what you're getting. You say there's new options or better options on the compared to Jake Evans. Yeah, I would agree.
Definitely, yeah, that's the way I feel right now.
Anybody we've
But
spoken about so far.
yeah, yeah. Um, I this is just my personal opinion on this, but a lot of people like to use the term like, and I see it in our videos all the time and like on Twitter, playing people in certain positions to showcase them. Coaches do not work that way. Like maybe the GM might push them and be like, hey, bump them up a little bit. Maybe. I feel like there are times that happens, but I do not think coaches operate like that. Like they will not do anything that they don't think will help the team. So at least Berube in this position, I think. So I don't think that's usually the case. Like if Domi's not playing well, they're not going to bump him up for that reason. So they bumped him up because Marner was gone last game. He played well. Berube said he had the juice. He went again tonight. He had another good game. So keep riding it. And I like Domi with Matthews anyway. So that should have been a thing for a while.
Yep. Dylan Cousins a double retained is 1.75 million AV. I can't imagine a world though where if they get it down to that, then give him everything in the world.
Well, what if you make a trade there, right? With some retained salary, you get Chicago involved. You say, "Hey, Chicago, you retain some more." Oh, Chicago can't retain salary for the rest of the year. Never mind. Never mind. That just came to
Trade
mind.
Holmberg, Camp Robertson, and maybe Riley. I do think Cousins to the Leafs is still very possible. It just depends
Mhm.
what some of the other teams offer. Leafs have 2.5 million for trade in cap space because of all the injuries. LTIR doesn't accrue cap space. Regular IR accrues cap space. Recently, Nye/Tavares. Shane with the cap guru.
Gotcha.
Cap guru Shane.
Yeah, because they technically right now have almost 4 million in LTR space, but they only have 2.2 in deadline cap space, so it doesn't accumulate cap.
Domi's been playing better the last few games. Still don't think he's worth $4 million. I think, yeah, I mean, he hasn't played like a $4 million player at all this season.
Well, no,
He's
but
getting
when
there
the
now.
salary cap goes up, then it might look less worse. And I think we're gonna have to start getting used to because the salary is gonna go up almost 10 million the next couple of years, year after year. So I think we're gonna have to start getting used to like fourth liners making like $4 million at some point, like in the near future, $5 million. What do bench players make in the NBA? Like $10 million?
Good bench players, yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, Bruce Brown,
I know there's less.
$23 million.
Did he end up signing somewhere, by the way? Because they bought him out,
Not
right?
not waived yet.
No, not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet.
So,
It
but
will
that's
happen.
happening.
Yep.
That's
Doesn't it
happening.
come down to the course run at the playoffs? Yes. No matter what moves they make, it's going to come down to the core four performing. We're also 6 likes away from 30 if you guys want to hit that. Let's get into our 3 stars of the night stream. It's actually pretty active here for almost 3 in the morning on a Tuesday. What's up, Logan? Are we're all just crazy Leafs fans.
But I'll just love the team.
It's also
Almost
extremely
1:30 here
fun to
local,
watch.
by
It's
the
3 in the
way.
morning for me. It's also extremely fun to. It's crazy to say that. Actually, we're live at 3 a.m. It's okay.
We're live.
It's fun. It's like the Leafs are. If they lost, we would have still been here. It would have been a grind fest. Merry
That's
Christmas.
We're a little ways away from that.
Or I guess we were. Yeah, I mean, we're at the point now where we're thinking about next Christmas.
Yeah.
All right. You can start with your 3rd star.
I'm gonna go. There's a lot of options you can go here tonight. I feel like Nylander didn't have a great game, but I'm gonna give my 3rd star to.
I know exactly what I'm rocking.
I'm gonna go Matthew Nyes for my 3rd star. Thought he had a great game. Again, putting together some good performances. Maybe shouldn't have had that goal count, but that's fine. We take them. And he's my 3rd star tonight.
I am going with Philip Myers for my 3rd star. Fantastic game from him. Got the goal. Fantastic impact. And absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to go with Myers as my 2nd star. Good for him. First goal in 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
2 years, yeah.
At least 2 seasons.
And he shoots the puck.
He shoots the puck. I love it. So good for him. And thank you, Shane. And yeah, he's going to be my 2nd star.
My 2nd star is going to be Bobby McMahon. Fantastic game for him. And you love to see it.
1st star is I guess
Stoli the goalie.
I was going to say the brick wall, but actually
spam
the other guy.
If you have the emotes in the chat, spam your. Do we have Anthony Stolar's emote? We should, right? Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's nice to have him back. It's been 2 months.
Yes, sir. No, he was great tonight. So should have got that shutout. But he was great, and he is my 1st star of this game because great return, great performance. Did not look shaky whatsoever, and could have put Matthews in there. Could have put McMahon had a great game, honorable mention, right? But I'm sure Matthews will work his way into the 3 stars at some point the rest of the way. So got to give love to guys like Myers.
Back-to-back games with Bobby McMahon as a part of my 3 stars. So it is what a crazy contract. What a crazy player.
He's had at least a goal a game on this road trip. So he's been really good. And not only that, I brought it up last stream. He's playing at a $5 million pace and he makes $1.35 million. Excuse me.
A million.
Dude, can you imagine? His contract is $1.3.
A cent a game. 2 cents a game. Fantastic win. The vibes are at an all-time high, and Saturday is such a big win if they can get it done because you're going to the Four Nations thing. All the GMs are off, but they're not going to be off because they're still going to be talking with one another, hopefully making some moves. I'm going to manifest Ryan Strome, and Dylan Strome, all the Stromes into a Toronto Maple Leafs uniform, and Dylan Cousins. That's why I'm mixing them up. Dylan Cousins and Ryan Strome.
Yes.
So give me a bit of both of them. Braden Shen, heard he's available as well. It's an interesting one.
A little bit older. Braden Shen. A couple of these options we've been talking about. A
lot of similar names here. Luke Shen as well as a guy the Leafs right now.
Luke Shen too should be involved. Maybe they should just go out and get both Shens. It might be a little bit cheaper. But by everything I've heard, like Scott Lawton, like these guys, Brock Nelson, they're going to cost a lot to the point that teams and the Leafs are trying to pivot to other plans, and which won't work if you have your needs, you have your needs. But looks like the Leafs want to get a 2nd line center instead. They want to spend just even more assets and go out and do something crazy. So
the Stoli wink at Montour is incredible save. Former teammates, both Cup winners. Montour got paid in Seattle, and Stolarz, is going to get paid if he continues to play this way over the next couple of seasons. So It's going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to each and every one of you tuned in. 3 in the morning for me, 1:30 for most of you all. And we'll be back with a video tomorrow. There's lots of things going around surrounding trades, everything like that. So we're going to keep you up to date. Saturday, I will be back here. I believe Darius is out.
Say 50-50 at this point.
Okay, it's better than last time. 50-50
Well,
for Darius. It is the last.
I'll
It
try
is
and
the
call
last
in.
game before. It is the last game before the big break. Keep in mind as well, we will be live at least once during that 14-day break. In all likelihood, we'll be live twice during that
Yep.
break, probably once a week, and we'll just make time for it, and maybe even more than that, depending on how they go. But it's any thoughts, Darius, before we wrap?
Yeah, we could get a trade during that Four Nations Cup. There's no roster freeze, nothing like that, no trade freeze. So we'll see what happens there. But we'll try and be live at least twice. I would say maybe once a week during the break, right? Like
Go
and
back
then
to
we'll
our
be
back to our
regular-
old Wednesday streams we used to
our
have in
little
the off
Wednesday.
season.
That's right. A little bit earlier too, so maybe more people can join us.
Yeah.
Which we won't be live at 1 a.m.
5 Eastern,
Yeah.
5:30 Eastern. When
We'll do
schoolwork is
some.
done. Thank you,
we'll
Logan.
do some
Thank
fun
you. What's
stuff.
up, Paul, as well. Shane, shout out to you again and Aiden as well for the gifted members and the donation from you, Aiden. Your guys' support has been unbelievable, as per usual. Have a great evening. I assume most of us now are probably headed off to sleep because it is a very, very late night. But if you aren't, enjoy the rest of your night. Have a fantastic evening. See you guys later. Cheers.
Please digest your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends untold. From first pop drop to the season's full. Tune in.